Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be featuring the Kitakaze, the tier 9 IGN destroyer that I have called one of the best ships to grind, tech tree ships to grind in the game right now. Also, this is a 100k giveaway video, which means you have a chance to win ships. In fact, in this video, from the comments in this video, I will be drawing 5 USS Kids, 5 Cossacks and 5 Asashios. So a total of 15 tier 8 destroyers will be given away to commenters. What you need to do is you need to be subscribed to the channel, and you need to leave a comment below naming what server you play on, what is your in-game name, and if you want, you can specify which of the 3 DDs you would like the most. If normally I will go Kid, Cossack, Asashio as I go through drawing the names, but if one of you have specified you would like another ship instead, I will try to honor your requests, but of course no guarantees. So I will leave an example comment as a pinned comment, so you can just copy that, of course, with your own server and own in-game name to give you guys an idea of how to do it. Pretty simple, especially for you guys that have done it before. Also, the tier 9 giveaways are live on Instagram, so if you're interested in trying to win an Alaska, Georgia or Aegir, those are live, and I am giving away a bunch of tier 6 and tier 7s on my Twitter. The Kitakaze. I love this ship. Good reason. The concealment is 5.9 kilometers, and which is better than the Akizuki and better than the Harugumo. In fact, I think this outshines both of them quite easily. Unlike the Harugumo, this thing doesn't eat full AP penetrations from battleships. Also, it's got almost 24,000 health. This combination of concealment and incredible health pool means that you can pick fights with basically anyone. More importantly, your gun power is completely immense. The Kitakaze basically pumps out as much damage, actually more damage than most tier 9 cruisers. We're not even comparing this damage to enemy destroyers, we're comparing the damage to cruisers. In terms of damage output, this thing is an absolute monster. In case you wondered what I did there, I started shooting the Wekwalin, and I waited until he opened up. And the second he opened up, his bloom expanded, which means my team can also see him, and I smoked up and started shooting him. Now I'm reversing out of my smoke to try to bait him into shooting again. If it doesn't work, it doesn't seem as working, I'm just gonna accelerate back into the smoke to avoid any extra incoming shells. Just like that, we managed to do a good 15,000 damage to this enemy DD, and we lost about 3,000 health ourselves. And considering how passive the rest of my team is playing and how many enemies we are dealing with, I am quite happy with this result. The Kitakaze also has excellent torpedoes, and I popped the reload booster to launch a full set of 12 torpedoes. These are 12 km IGN torps. Note that I am reversing full speed because I'm expecting to be torped at least by one of them, and there they are. And if you're moving at full speed, whether it be reversing or accelerating, you have an easier time evading torpedoes. There's a ton of torps coming in, but I just calmly weave in through the gaps that I can spot, and we end up dodging all the torpedoes. Note that that was a 6+6 set that was launched from the north, which tells me that the enemy Kitakaze is also here. So I'm not just dealing with Wekwalin, they also have a Kitakaze, and it looks like a Nachi and an Atago that will also try to torpedo me. My team is also, well, we're only 5 ships here, and we're up against what, 6-7 ships? So this is already going to become a rough battle. And this is the reason, because I know how many ships there are, I actually don't push aggressively and try to contest the enemy destroyer anymore. I try to secure the cap. I get very unfortunate torpedoes running out on the Nagata, but I secure the cap, and now it's time to play significantly more defensive. Don't overextend, especially if you have cap control, and if you are aware that the enemy team has more ships there than you, don't go too aggro, especially with your smoke on cooldown. Whenever the smoke is on cooldown, you play a bit safer because you don't have that convenient instant escape that you need. The same way, if there's a radar ship around, you play a bit safer because there is the risk of being radared. I know the Kitakaze is somewhere north, so I go towards my enemy team and then I start pushing north to see if I could maybe get vision of him and maybe pick a fight. My smoke is about to come up in about 10 seconds anyway, so I have a bit more leeway for this aggression. The idea is of course to fight him on somewhat even ground where my team can help just as much as his team. However, the Kitakaze had in fact repositioned down south to the edge of the map with the rest of his team. This is a bit worrying because they have a lot of firepower there and I don't really want to push too aggressively into a smoked up Kitakaze. That's generally suicide. However, my torpedoes are about to reload. My torpedo reload is almost ready. And as I mentioned, these torpedoes actually hit like an absolute truck. They're not that stealthy because they are IGN torpedoes, but 6 of them, 2x6 means a full, very, very devastating torpedo volley. So we're gonna just be very, very safe here. We're gonna stay away from any ships, making sure they don't get vision of me. The enemy team is clearly pushing through here with a lot of force and they will be overrunning my team. So the only way to stop this push in its tracks would be a very good torpedo volley. And seeing as they're all heading south, I launch one right at the smoke, hoping to maybe catch the Kitakaze in the process. And then I put a bit of a wider spread towards where the battleships are. At this point though, it's time to disengage. The cap is contested and I can obviously see that I'm contesting it as well. The DDs are, or maybe the Atago is running RPF, so we just start cutting away at this point. We've done what we wanted, and that is get our torpedoes off into the center of the enemy push. And this is what the Kitakaze does so well. Everything. Great against DDs, great against cruisers, and if need be, it's also a devastating torpedo boat. The torpedoes seem excellent. They have no idea where they're coming from. They didn't expect me to be so far north. I take down the Nachi. I land a torpedo on the Iowa as well. And the torpedoes take out the Iowa, giving me a double strike. And suddenly this overwhelming advantage they had on this flank, well, it's been equalized a fair bit. The Vakvolin down south also gets spotted. I'm expecting my team to focus fire him, but they're being a bit slow about it, so I start opening fire myself. Note that this is a safe time to open fire because I'm already kiting away from all his teammates, so there's no chance of his teammates following up with too much damage. In fact, I could even smoke up if I wanted to. Surprisingly, the enemy Kitakaze decides to take the fight with me, and this is a situation that favors me quite heavily because his teammates are too far away to support and I'm already kiting away. And I mentioned in all these DD versus DD gunfights, if you're kiting away, you always have the advantage. The guy is also not running survivability expert, and I don't think he's got the upgraded hull, so my health advantage is quite significant. So this is a fight I will happily take. In fact, I'm full stopping, and I'm even blind firing where he went dark, just to try to get some additional damage in on him. He does disappear though, and he's smart enough to stop shooting and just angle in, but this gave me a lot of information regarding his health, and also I got a lot of damage in on him. We give the appearance of running away because I'm still detected. This is kind of information war against the enemy. Give them the impression that you are fleeing while you're spotted. As soon as I'm undetected, this is where we actually completely change our tactic. The last thing they saw about me was me running away. That was the idea they got. They think the Kitakaze is fleeing, and I know where the enemy Kitakaze is, and I know that he's running RPF. So I look at where my Jean Bart is, and now I'm going to try to use RPF against him. The idea is, if the DD is using RPF to track where I am, by basically sailing in front of the Jean Bart, the DD doesn't really know if his RPF is still tracking me sailing away, or if the RPF is tracking the Jean Bart. And that's exactly what I want. Because I know I have a health advantage, his teammate the Musashi is disengaging, the Nagata is quite far away, and I have a health advantage against him. So this is a fight I want to force. We are basically going to have pretty much a 1 versus 1. There's a chance the Jean Bart might help me, but overall it's going to be mostly a 1 versus 1, where I have a health advantage, and of course I always have a lot of faith in my own gunnery. I don't want to overextend, so I slow down, waiting for him to be spotted, and there he is. He pops up, didn't expect me to have turned back in, he relied too much on his RPF, and he tries to smoke up, but my HE breaks his engine, which slows down his smoking up so much. He tries to disappear from vision, but I just blind fire the smoke until eventually I take him down. And just like that, the enemy Kitakaze is out, and this opens up the cap right back for me. and I can turn around, once again giving the impression that I'm fleeing, because enemy team seeing me run away is always a good thing. The less the enemy knows of where you are as a destroyer, the more it works in your advantage. Especially in hybrid DDs like the Kitakaze that are also very, very good torpedo boats. We turn around and we're going to push right back into the objective. My team is winning the north, but we have managed to turn the south into our favor by taking down 4 of the enemy ships. However, one of the reasons why I really wanted to play the Kitakaze is because I wanted to show you guys something very, very amusing. And that is that I'm running Admiral Yamamoto on this captain, or on this ship. And his special ability is, if you get a Kraken on him, it gives you a heal, and it buffs your main gun reload by 34%. So what I'm really hungering for is getting a kill. Ideally on the Nagato, because he's easier to take down than a full HP Musashi. If I can take down the Nagato, even if I take some hits while doing it, that heal from Admiral Yamamoto will more than enough make up for the lost health. So our goal here is not just to secure the objective, it's to give you guys an image or an idea of just how much damage the Kitakaze can pump out when everything is working out for it. Because of that, I see he's sailing behind the island, so I open up. Because if he does go behind the island, he's the only ship nearby, so I will get undetected. And Nagato's turret traverse is more than likely to be so slow. He actually does get a shot off, and he has HE loaded, which is surprising, but we angle in. He does get a pretty good hit in of 3.6k, but we're not really worried. We want the kill, because we want to proc that Yamamoto special. I'm tempted to throw some torpedoes here. Is he going to push around the corner? I'm actually more expecting him to turn around, because that tends to be the standard thing. I do pop my last torpedo reload because, well, once again, our goal is to proc Yamamoto, and once we proc Yamamoto, we will no longer need our torpedoes, because our gun power will be so overwhelming. Keep in mind that Kitakaze, as a DD, has a 30mm base pen on these 100mm guns. So when you spec IFHE, you can pen basically anything. The 32mm plating on most tier 10 battleships can be penned by these Kitakaze guns. So I launched torpedoes both ways, hoping he would go. I'm expecting him to actually run away, but he's still not visible here. So I think he's actually slowed down behind the island. And that's exactly what he's done. He's taking his sweet time behind the island, and I will not have a chance of landing torpedoes. This time I smoke up, because the Musashi, if you look at the minimap, the Musashi is north of me, and the Musashi would have been able to shoot me quite freely, and we're not going to give him that chance. And now we just start farming. You can see how few shatters we're getting. Most of the shatters are basically hitting the belt or the turrets themselves. The rest of the time, just full pens. That is that Kitakaze specialty, that penetration ability on these 100mm guns. Shanbard gets a volley in, and I think we will be able to proc it. We need a couple hundred more damage. And just like that, we take it down and we activate Second Wind. Talent activated. You can see just how much health I'm recovering, which is why I was so uncaring about the health I lost in the process of getting that kill. Musashi is giving broadside, so we switch to AP. And this is what Kitakaze Dakka truly looks like. This is obviously absolutely disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. My guns can barely keep up with me just holding down mouse 1. The reload is so immense at this point, and obviously there is no real DD that can fight you. Well, there's not many cruisers that can even fight you when you're going into this mode. He angles away, so I start getting a fair bit of bounces, so we switch to HE, and we just keep farming, farming, farming. Confederate, hoping to get some more fires on him. He's trying to angle away, but we can shoot his bow, we can shoot his stern, we can shoot his superstructure. Only his deck armor is 57mm, which is enough to actually shatter our HE. The rest of the ship can easily be penned. He slows down, probably wondering what the hell is going on. The hits keep raining in. I think he even popped the damage gun. I'm hoping to get the kill. Seeing as he starts running away, we start maybe giving a bit of chase as well. We get one fire. but I think the game will end. I aim for the stern, I get a second fire. This ship will absolutely go down, but the problem is the points actually tick out before we can burn this poor Musashi to death. And that was an example of the power of the Kitakaze. Able to fight battleships, cruisers and DDs with significant ease. Double strike Confederate Kraken, 168,000 damage. I only really landed 5 torpedoes, and that was what that one torpedo volley. We were very careful to stay undetected and sneak into a position that they didn't expect, and usually that's when you get your highest torpedo hits. When the enemy team doesn't expect you to be where you are, then they also don't expect to see torpedoes from that direction. Team score wise, well, 2.7k base. It was a pretty hard carry. We pretty much stopped that entire push on that one flank. That Kitakaze was actually in a division with the Musashi and the Shanbard, which is one of the reasons why I was playing quite safe around him and making sure I used every advantage I got in dealing with him. Detailed report wise, damage upon your spotting, 92,000. Of course, playing a DD is more than just capping and killing, it's also providing vision for your team, especially in games like this where there is no carrier. Took about 14k damage, not too bad, about 700,000 potential. The real deal is of course in the guns. Main battery, shells fired HE, almost 900, AP 120, so we did actually break 1,000 shells fired. That is what you want to be doing in the Kitakaze, just farming. Sad that the game ended before we could get the 6th kill, and sad that we didn't get more time to Dakka with this thing, because getting second wind on Kitakaze is just, it's brokenly hilarious. You instantly become the strongest ship on the server, but it is a very hard achievement to proc. Let me show you guys my recommended build for the ship, as I do quite enjoy playing it. Right, as usual, let me start with my modules. Consumable wise, there's not much to talk about, you can't change them. Module wise, I would probably go for the hull upgrade first. It's usually the best one for pretty much all destroyers out there. It usually gives you health, AA, rudder shift, all the things you need to survive. After that, probably followed it up with the gun range, after which upgrading the torpedoes. Note that you don't need to unlock the F3s at all. The F3s actually don't synergize that well with the Kitakaze, because the Kitakaze, unlike for example Yugumo and Shimakaze, has plenty of firepower to deal with threats close by. The 12km torps tend to be more useful because they give you more flexibility, especially against potential radar ships at range. So I've never really valued the F3 as much. You can run them for the memes, of course, but ultimately I think you will get significantly more value out of the 12km ones. The default 10km torps are okayish to begin with, so I would leave the 12km torpedo upgrade as the last one. Upgrade wise, turret and torpedo survival, followed by speed boost duration. If you don't have it, then just run engine room protection. I'm actually running the AA module, which is somewhat... I must have forgotten it on. This is like a remnant for times past. Wow, I just made this game so much harder for myself. Obviously, I don't recommend running this. You don't need turret reverse, because your turret reverse is plenty fast. Run torpedo tubes mod. This is far... I can't believe I made the game that much more difficult for me. This thing is obviously the best one, because not only does it give you faster torpedo speed, but it also reduces the risk of the torpedo tubes breaking. Faster acceleration for those reverse jukes or torpedo dodges and so forth, and more importantly because your base rudder shift is so good that you don't need it. Concealment, and finally faster reload. I still can't believe I was running this. This used to be a good upgrade back in the day, but then Wargaming nerfed it and now it's basically complete trash, so I don't run it on basically any ship at all. Captain build wise, of course, if you have Yamamoto, he is hilarious for multiple reasons. You can get the concealed reserves, which means if you get a first blood, you get an extra of all consumables. Very useful. And then there's of course the second wind, which means if you proc a Kraken, you will get the heal and the faster main battery reload, and of course torp reload. But on the Kitakaze, the main battery reload is really the funniest gimmick out there. Build wise, priority target, last stand, survivability expert, concealment expert. Build in that order. After that, you probably want to go for IFHE as soon as possible. IFHE enables you to pen that magical 37 millimeters. More importantly, it gets you past 32, which means you can farm every ship out there. After that, I would build into BFT. That's a guaranteed 10% reload buff. Very useful. In the past, I might have built Superintendent, but thanks to Yamamoto, and more importantly, because the games are often so quick these days, they end before you even get to use all your consumables. So because of that, I like the BFT, the 10% faster reload, making it easier to pick these gunfights against enemy ships. Finally, last 2 points into AR. Alternatively, you can build AR, you can build BFT, AR, and IFHE last. It's not that important in which order you get them, but all three significantly boost your damage and are highly recommended. You probably see this a lot on my DD builds, and that is I always prioritize building survivability first, because staying alive is what allows you to be effective. And then once you have the base 10-point survivability build, then you can start building into damage in various ways. Flag-wise, because of your fast reloading guns, you obviously get a great benefit out of the fire chance flags, which bumps you up to 3.5% fire chance. Not a whole lot, but then you got to consider you're reloading your guns in 2.4 seconds. You throw out a lot of dakka in this ship. Speed flag, I would recommend detonation flag on a destroyer and faster consumables. Fire is preference, you don't really need it. It doesn't benefit DD as much because your damage con is so fast. AA, your AA values are not that impressive. It can help you, sure, and if you have extra, feel free to run it, but don't expect too much from Kitakaze AA. Against tier 8 carriers, you might do okayish if he eats flag clouds, but against tier 10 CVs, you will be struggling. As always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to take part in the giveaways. They are live on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram right now, and they will be live on Twitch probably, I'd say, next Saturday, Sunday. I will try to finish up all the giveaway by Sunday so I can send the list to Wargaming and they can start crediting the rewards on the upcoming week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys later.